Hi there, 5 creative mindset books to read in 2025. Now, I read these all in 2024 and found them all to be really useful, so I've personally read them all. The only one I have in paper is this first one that I'm going to talk about. The rest are on, what do you call it, the Amazon Kindle thingy, what's it? But I'll put some pictures up and some links if I remember. I don't have an affiliate link or anything. I'll just put some links to them so you can see them on Amazon. So, first of all, this little book here, Who Moved My Cheese? This is really short, nice big print with pictures, and it's not too heavy, but I found it really useful. And now I read this at the beginning of the year when I was, I think probably to be honest, stressing about AI taking over our lives and putting me out of a job by this point, which is the end of the year, which it hasn't as yet. But I found it really useful in terms of reframing our thinking in the sort of context of development and things changing, and where we should and not getting stuck in the mud and not thinking how to think outside the box, and just to be how to deal with change in your work and in your life. It says it's how to deal with change, and it is a really, really good book on that. Actually, it's a parable, so it tells you a story of some mice. I don't think there's anything in here that you sort of don't know deep down, but it's good to sort of read it and just to put it in this story and context. So I'd highly recommend that. It's very cheap. How was that? $8.99. Not that cheap, really, because it's quite thin. It only takes an hour to read. Second book by Ali Abdaal, really well-known YouTuber called Feel Good Productivity. I really like him. He's got a lovely way on YouTube and some really great ideas. Very nice, attractive book cover. And somehow reading his books, you always feel nicely reassured. What's it about? It's, in a nutshell, well, it's about how to be productive, but productive in a positive way, finding your sort of sweet spot and mixing productivity with play and making it a habit and a positive thing rather than a chore. So it's a sort of mindset in that respect. That's not a very good way of describing it, but I found it quite useful. As with a lot of mindset and productivity books and so on and so forth, I think they sort of have one overarching idea, and his is literally, as it says, feel good productivity, feeling good about working and finding the path of least resistance. And there's, it's a whole book about that. And I think to a certain extent, you don't need a whole book. You get the idea from the first few chapters, and then it gets a bit repetitive. However, again, there's nothing mind-blowing in it, nothing that you sort of think, oh my goodness, I'd never thought of that. There's stuff in there that you think, oh yeah, actually that is true. It's a good read, it's an easy read, and I felt that it was really helpful just in terms of how I work, because I view my work as play, if I can do most of the time, and I think that's a really healthy sort of way of doing it. The next one is The Subtle Art of... Can you say F-U-C-K on YouTube? I don't know. I'm not going to, just in case I get some sort of banned... You're not going to get banned, am I, for swearing? I don't know. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F-U-C-K. Okay, great title. It does exactly what it says on the tin. I spend a lot of time worrying about what people are thinking of me, I think. Well, he says that, but at the great age of 56, I'm getting to the stage where I don't give an F-U-C-K a lot more. It's a really helpful book. Again, you only sort of need to read the title to know what it's about, but it does give you some strategies, and it does repeat the same thing sort of over and over again, and you don't really need to read the whole lot. But it's great if you do feel sort of weighed down by the weight of expectation, or just, I don't know, life's getting on top of you and you need to prioritise stuff. I found it an entertaining and helpful read. It was reasonably liberating, but a really good thing to I'd sort of come to the conclusion that actually I don't give an F-U-C-K about a lot of things. And it was nice in a way to read a book that sort of backed up my thinking, if that makes sense. Next one, The War of Art by Sullivan, Pressfield, absolute classic. Hadn't read it until this year. Big takeaway from that is about how creating any sort of art, whether it be music, whatever, or pottery or painting or hedgehog painting or whatever you like to do, is bound up with huge amounts of procrastination. It's a big mental effort to do it, and getting to start it is really hard, and we make up all sorts of stories about why we shouldn't start, etc., etc., etc. And that was good, because that's my experience. You know, I've done 6 years now of pretty much full-time music writing. So I write music for, well, hardcore writing, 4 hours a day, plus a couple of hours usually of admin and things, and in the afternoon. So that sort of hardcore creation. And there's always a sort of thing in the back of your mind saying, oh, well, you don't need to do it today, or it's a bit cold today, or feeling a bit headachy today, I won't do it today. That whole procrastination thing. And again, it was something I already sort of knew, and I think already in my own way had overcome to a certain extent. But again, it was good to read the book and to be just sort of reassured that I wasn't a weirdo. Let's put it like that. So I think it's a good read. It's a good read. And finally, now this is a strange one. An author called Benjamin Harvey, he's got a YouTube channel, and he's a productivity scientist or something like that. I'm not totally sure that's his title. I sort of really like his work. It's very American and very, whoa, we're going to be amazing sort of stuff, but sort of psychologically based. A book I read of his called The Gap and the Gain by him and Dan Sullivan this year. I've also read a couple of other books by him, one about motivation. Now I can't remember. There's a few. Something about 10xing your progress. His stuff sort of... Now the reason I put it in is I think his stuff is great. And on paper, I can really get behind the ideas. It sounds absolutely amazing. I understand it. I do find it a bit repetitive. You know, it's again a book that's one principle that's spread out over 200 pages, and I think it gets a little bit repetitive. But my problem is that I understand the concepts, but I can't relate them to what I do in terms of writing music. Now, I've put it in there because I'm sort of hoping that somebody out there might sort of be able to say, well, obviously, you idiot, you do this, this, and this. So is there anybody out there that's read anything by Benjamin Harvey and has been able to relate it to writing music, creative arts sort of stuff, production music, which is what I do particularly? I really, really would recommend, having a good look at his stuff. The YouTube videos are great, nicely produced, very clear. The books, I think, are a bit repetitive, but good on their concepts. Is there any way that we can put those concepts into the context of creating art and music? I've struggled with that. I look forward to hearing your comments on that. If you got to the end of this video, congratulations. Thank you very much. And I hope at least one or two of those books, go out and treat yourself and buy one. They're as cheap as chips if you get them on your Kindle. And thank you for watching. Bye-bye.